Have you heard about the Nigerian cannibal who said that the human esophagus is the sweetest part of the human body? Well, he was a devoted Muslim by day, but a human flesh-eating monster by night. This is a thrilling story of a man named Aminu Baba, the modern-day Nigerian cannibal whose evil deed came to light in January of 2022 after the sudden disappearance of a certain young man in Gusau, Zamfara State, Nigeria. Aminu Baba was a 57-year-old businessman who sold cars for a living. He was married to 3 wives and had a total of 19 children. To his neighbors, family and friends, he was the most devoted Muslim they ever knew. They said he did not joke with his prayers and encouraged his children to be as devoted as he was. It was said he made heavy donations to the mosque, buying everything they needed out of his pockets. They described him to be a soft-spoken, kind-hearted, and peaceful person. And that was why when he was accused of being a cannibal who killed and ate human beings for dinner, many of his friends and neighbors did not believe, because the Aminu Baba that they knew was not capable of hurting a fly. However, it seemed as though Aminu Baba had 2 lives, the one he showed in the light of day and the ones he ate in the dark of the night. Before we continue, guys, please like this video, share, and comment where you're watching from as you go. And if you haven't subscribed, please do well to subscribe now, because the story even gets more complicated as it seems.
Police station to Central Police Station.
It's not clear how long the 57-year-old man has been into cannibalism. Neither is it clear how it started for him. But there are reasons to believe that he may have been into it for a better part of his life. I mean, for a 57-year-old man, it is very possible that he had had enough time to practice. However, what he did in the dark soon came to light. Towards the end of 2021, leading up to the beginning of 2022, when a young man by the name of Adamu Yakubu went missing on the 12th of December 2021. His case was reported to the police by his father, and the police promised that they would do something to find Adamu. But for weeks, the father of Adamu did not hear anything until the 28th of December, when Adamu's body was discovered by a construction worker in an uncompleted building, with his hands and legs tied behind his back. The construction worker immediately called the police, and when the police arrived, they could instantly tell that Adamu's organs had been harvested. And I want to guess that this might not be the first of its kind for the police. Although it's not clear if there had been similar cases where people's bodies were discovered in certain positions and their organs missing. But that could have been the case. However, it is only recorded that the discovery of Adamu's body was what gave the police the impression that there is somebody out there most possibly killing people and harvesting their organs. But you know, Zamfara State is not exactly one of those social media bubbling places where whatever happened quickly gets to the news. It's just lucky enough that the discovery of Adamu's body played a part of the entire story, because on its own, it may have not made it to the news, as well as most likely other bodies that may have been discovered in such situations at the time. But with Adamu's story, it seemed the police had something that they were looking for, and they began their investigation into how Adamu may have disappeared, be kidnapped, and then killed for this purpose. They began trying to find whom and who may have been last seen with him. And through a series of questioning and doing their due diligence, a week later, they were able to find and arrest 3 young men. And these young men would turn out to be the catalyst that will expose the secret life of the almighty cannibal Aminu Baba. It was a week after Adamu's body was discovered that the police trailed the 3 young men to their home in the early hours of the morning, January the 4th of 2022. The young men were named to be Abdul Shakur Mohammed, Abdullahi Baba, and Ahmed Toko. They were very young men. Some articles even described them as teenagers. And it was as early as 2 a.m. in the morning that the police trailed them to their home and had them arrested and taken to the police station, where it was said that human parts were found in their possession, and possibly male genitalias. When these 3 boys were paraded at the police station, for some reason, somehow, the governor of Zamfara State at the time was said to have been present, and he was the one who even interrogated the boys in front of everyone, including the police, asking them why they did what they did and what they did with the body parts. It was during this interrogation that Abdul Shakur, the leader of the three of them, admitted that he was the one who killed Adamu and that he was the one who harvested his organs. And when they asked him why he did it and what he did with the body parts, he made the big confession that shook the entire community. Abdul Shakur claimed that he was given a contract by a man named Aminu Baba and that the contract involved him to bring human body parts, intestines and esophagus, and that for every supply he made to Aminu Baba, that he was going to get 500,000, that is 500,000 naira. And to Abdul Shakur, that was a big money, a very huge sum of money. And so he took the contract and began his job. He was further asked how many times he may have done this job for Aminu Baba, in which he claimed he had done it twice and was most likely on his way to going on his third round when he was caught and arrested. Upon hearing this story, the governor of Zamfara state quickly gave the police a 24-hour ultimatum to arrest Aminu Baba and bring him to the station. And that was how the Zamfara police department, the Guse police department, they all began their plot and plan to get Aminu Baba. And it's not clear if at this time Aminu Baba had heard about the arrest of these three young men that he had given the contract to, but there is a chance that he hadn't heard of them. And so the police had enough time to quickly arrest him and bring him to the station. And they did that stylishly. However, they were unable to arrest this man without a little drama, which is quite funny if you ask me. So the police were said to have disguised themselves wearing plain outfits, not to look like police officers. And they went to Aminu Baba's home and waited for him outside of his gates. Since Aminu Baba worked in his car dealer shop, by the time he returned, they tried to approach him, to talk to him, to ask him questions. But it was said Aminu Baba was suspicious and did not engage with them. It was almost as if somehow, some way, he figured out that there might be police officers. And that would have been the point. They said he ran inside his home, inside his house, locked the doors. And when the police kept asking him to come out, they said he refused. At the point, it was said the police had to force themselves in. That was when they discovered that Aminu Baba had climbed into his roof in the ceiling to hide. It took them hours to beg this man to come to the station with them, but they say Aminu Baba did not come down from the ceiling. The policemen had to climb up into his roof to bring him down to the station. How dramatic. I mean, they had already seen you and they knew you were in the roof. And you running and hiding pretty much has given it all away. But according to the police, his hiding or his behavior during his arrest was not even what gave him away. When they brought him to the station, he was asked about certain things which he denied. It was when eventually he saw the three boys who he had given the contract to kill and harvest human parts. That was when his facial expression changed. And that was when Aminu Baba knew that his cover has blown. The questions the press asked Aminu Baba was just more of the activities itself. And interestingly enough, Aminu Baba did not deny any of these accusations. He did not deny knowing the boys. He admitted that he did give these boys the contract and that they did supply him the human intestines and esophagus, which he claimed the esophagus was the sweetest part of the human body to him as the cannibal that he is. I don't know why they did not ask him how long he had been doing it, because it would have been interesting to know how long he had been into it. I don't think this is something he just started all of a sudden in his old age. It seemed like something he may have gotten from someone or somewhere and just continued from there. And it would have also been interesting to know how many people he may have killed just for the purpose of fulfilling his cannibalistic lust. We don't have that details. Is there a chance that this might be a serial killer who is also a cannibal? But because for him to enjoy the human esophagus, he must have at least tested it a number of times, which would mean he most possibly have killed a lot of people for it. But there are reasons to believe that he, aside sending these three young men to go do his hunting for him, he too may have also had his fair share of killing people for that purpose. Because when they asked him, he said that he was only interested in the intestines and in the esophagus. and that the rest body parts, he sold it to other people. And that was the part of the confession that made the police force raise their eyebrow. If he is killing people and just taking certain parts of their body and then selling the rest to other people, who were these people that Aminu Baba was selling body parts to? And what did those people do with it? Is it possible that there could be more of Aminu Baba out there? Because from what we know, Aminu Baba never confessed the names of the people he sold the body parts to. Which means that there are more people like him out there who source and sought for human body parts. It's unfair that this man did not make the confession, but this is something we've seen a number of times. Even when we heard or learned about the story of Clifford Orji that happened in the 90s or thereabouts, it was still pretty much the same thing. There were people who patronized this man, but he never made confessions about who these people were because they paid him huge sum of money. And also, understanding Aminu Baba's source of income, we know that he was into car dealing. He sold cars. He had a place where people come to buy cars. However, when the journalists carried out their investigation, they learned that the car dealership business that he manages is not necessarily his own. That he had associates and partners who brought their cars there for him to sell. And that could probably mean that, yes, he could get money from there. But since it's not his own, the amount of money he would be making from there might just be limited. Which means that a good amount of his source of income may have resulted from selling human body parts to certain people in the community that are best known to him. The Aminu Baba story shook the entire community in Nguse. A lot of people were shocked at this discovery. Many of his neighbors and people who knew him did not believe. Some of their comments were outrageous, and these are some of their reactions. It's such a very shocking story that his neighbors, friends, and family did not believe that he was capable of such. I could not imagine the reaction of his 19 children. That is a lot of children. It was even said one of his daughters was about to get married when this incident happened. I wonder how that marriage would work when the husband finds out that his father in law killed and ate human beings for a living. Whew, that marriage is going to need a good luck. But another thing again that also puzzled me was his wives and children. Is there a chance that one of them knew about it? Is there a chance that his family may have known something? Because for you to eat the intestines and esophagus, someone had to cook it. Someone had to fry it. Someone had to make it a meal for you. So in my mind, which one of his wives prepared this meal for him? Which one of his wives made this meat into his soup, into his rice? Did they not know? Did they not see? Did they not realize something was off? Or was he the one cooking his food by himself? I'm sure his daughters or children may have also helped at some point to prepare his meals. And did they not know that the meat that they are using to cook for daddy was not the ones from the cows? Maybe there might be no way of telling the difference in these parts. Maybe since he gave people the contract to do his dirty job, maybe the meat came to him like raw meat. So there's probably no way or no easy way to tell what it is. But I'm sure his wife or someone in his family may have had an idea that something was off in the meat that he was eating. This is a very shocking story because a lot of people do not know who they share a home with, who they share a life with. People don't know who their neighbor is, who their friends are, who the man who makes the biggest donation in the mosque is. People do not know this until such a thing happens. Very tragic and very shocking. But it's a good thing that what he did in the dark eventually came to the light. So you guys let me know what you think about the story. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Comment your thoughts now and let me know how you feel. Do you think his wives and children may have known about his deeds? Or do you think he may have done a good job in keeping it secret? I personally feel one or two, or even since he has 19, even a group of them, the older ones most possibly, may have suspected that something was off with him. And I'm also certain that at least one or two, if not three of his wives, knew about his dark cravings. But you guys let me know what you think. Thank you guys for watching.